I would venture to guess that each and every one of us in this room aspire to do well and then do good, to give back. But few have mastered that balance more impressively than our next honoree, Larry Patrick. Larry is the founder and managing partner of both media brokerage firm Patrick Communications and radio station group Legend Communications. His firm has completed more than $8 billion worth of transactions. Yes, that's billion with a B. With 165 TV and more than 600 radio deals. I said to him backstage, Larry, when do you sleep? And he said, when I'm not doing deals. It's an important behind-the-scenes side of our business in this ever-changing industry. This Kentucky native's passion for our business started in high school. His early jobs as a news producer segued into teaching at schools that included the University of Maryland. To this day, Larry is amazingly committed to making dreams come true for the next generation of broadcasters. He has been an incredibly generous donor to his beloved alma maters, the University of Kentucky, the University of Tennessee, Ohio University, Georgetown University Law School. The man has a lot of education. He has a doctorate and a law degree, in case you were wondering. After completing his education and serving as a professor, he became a senior vice president at the National Association of Broadcasters. He has stayed connected to NAB through his career, having chaired its Political Action Committee and its Broadcasters Leadership Foundation. As one of the industry organizations that has the pleasure of having Larry sit on its board, the Library of American Broadcasting Foundation is especially proud to be honoring him today. Larry has actually owned or managed 100 radio stations and 65 television stations, which is also remarkable. Larry's philanthropy extends way beyond education. I hope he'll tell you a little bit more about that in his remarks. He is a humanitarian, a family man with a giant heart that set an example for us all. Larry.
Thanks so much, Juju. You're very, very kind. And I think probably one of the highlights that was not mentioned was about 7 years ago when I was here in New York, and I brought Jenny, and we had dinner at Capitol Grill with Joyce, and they had not met. And I was trying to convince Jenny that we should make a deal with IRTS for IRTS to take over this luncheon. And at that moment, the Giants moved from sort of the minor leagues to extremely successful so that we could help University of Maryland. I want to say a couple of thanks here. First of all, to Gary Chapman. Gary, who ran Lynn Media for so many years, nominated me for this, and I appreciate it very much. And congratulations to all the other recipients. To be in their company is a great honor. I also am very lucky because I have 4 kids. They're scattered all over the country doing different things, and 3 of them, some at great effort, from Colorado, California, Texas, are here today with me, Matt, Shannon, and Shelby. Daniel, our 4th son, is in Oregon going to college, and I told him, you've got great grades, don't take a few days off, stay there, finals are coming real soon. But more than anybody is my wife, Susan, who has been my business partner, my wife. We've been together for 30 years, and without her, I don't think anything that we have accomplished would have happened. I remember maybe 25 years ago, I was up on a stage like this getting some award, and without even really thinking about it, the organization was there, and I said, oh, and by the way, Susan and I are going to give you $100,000 right after this. And I walked back, and she said, I don't really mind, but do you think you could ask me next time before you do stupid stuff like that? Anyway, so it's going on, and there have been bigger checks for many other people. I also want to thank Greg Guy and Jason James. Greg's been with us for 20 years, Jason for over 10 years, who have helped us build that brokerage company that's done $8 billion worth of deals, and we hope to make it 8.5 to 9. Special recognition to the people from the University of Maryland. I taught there a long, long time ago. I was teaching in the mornings full time, but I was going to Georgetown Law School in the afternoon and never sleeping, it seemed. But I got through it, and Maryland was instrumental, and then I continued to teach for about 12 to 13 more years part-time. I just want to say I've been very blessed with a very diverse and wonderful career. I put almost 70 radio and TV stations on the air in Eastern Europe for the State Department when communism fell. I've been in Africa, I've been in the Caribbean. I have built lots of stations and taught them how to run them. And have met many, many friends at radio and TV stations across this country and in dozens of others. I know that I've probably traveled too much. At last report, I had 8.7 million miles on all the frequent flyer programs, which is just insane. I traveled too far. I've spent way too much time away from home and for those children. But I've been blessed. I thank our clients because we've done some somewhat nice things. We have built medical and dental clinics in Swaziland, in Mozambique. We've created rural health initiatives in Appalachia and in inner city Washington. We have built a school on the Maasai tribal homelands in Kenya that you saw pictures when Susan and I were over there a year and a half ago, 2 years to dedicate it. We have been able to create dozens of endowed scholarships and 2 endowed professorships at different universities. We support 2 orphanages for Native American students in South Dakota and Montana. And we've been very fortunate to be able to contribute to the life-changing work at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in Memphis. At last report, we've written checks of almost $2 million. Many, many years ago, when I was 19, I saw my first story I had ever done appear on CBS Evening News. I had done it for a local CBS station in my home state of Kentucky. They picked it up. They had someone else voice it, since my voice was crappy. And I remember that Bob Chandler from CBS called me the next morning. He didn't know who I was. I was just some producer, reporter. I was 19, and he told me, Larry, that story last night, which was on black lung in the Kentucky coal mines, was seen by 22 million television households last night. And that's when I knew the power and sort of the great effort that TV and radio can bring to communities. I later was able to have a number of stories on when I went to a different station on NBC Nightly News, and I was just fascinated with the awe and the scope of this industry. So thank you for allowing me to live in that awe of broadcasting every day in my life and to do some nice things for other people. And now surrounded by my family and my friends, to be named a Giant's a great honor. It's a very, very long way for a kid from Kentucky, and I appreciate it so very much. Thank you.